Welcome back to Uncharted Waters with Admiral Waters. I'm your co-host, Lieutenant Commander Kenneth Bradley. Lock in with us as we have a conversation about mission and mindset pertaining to all things Navy recruiting. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And share it with everyone. Send it to your mom, send it to your dad, send it to yourself and watch it 50 billion times. All right, let's get into the conversation. And welcome back to Uncharted Waters with Admiral Waters. I'm your co-host, Lieutenant Commander Kenneth Bradley. Here rocking a purple shirt, just kind of standing out a little bit. But today, we have an amazing guest here today. This is your second time on the show, correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
But in a completely different capacity. So welcome to the show. My first time being here with you, so this should be fun. But we're going to get into a discussion today, so welcome to today's conversation. So we're here with Master Chief Kevin Kikawa. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Master Chief Kevin Kikawa. I've recently been selected as the National Chief Recruiter. Been in the position for about 90 days now, and look forward to doing this episode.
Yeah, it's great to have you. I'm excited to, talk to the recruiters, talk to you, but share with the recruiters in the field what's going on here, what you're thinking about, and how we work together.
Yes, sir.
All right. We're going to go ahead and dive into the first question. As we continue setting a record pace of moving closer to meeting the 44,000 a session goal, what's your message to Recruiting Nation at this critical moment?
Well, I think the critical thing is the 44,000 is something that, we haven't done in a long time. And everyone out there should be extremely proud of all the work they put into making this big number. And really, ultimately, the reason why we do things is to, protect our country ultimately at the end, because we need a strong service to do that, especially in Navy. But I would say just looking forward, things change so much. I've been in recruiting since 2006, and you never know what's going to happen in the world and what the demand signal will be. So I would stay sharp, continue. What is our true capacity as an organization? Is this our ceiling? I don't think so. I think that there's more room out there for us to, potentially assess whatever the demand is.
Yeah, I think that's a great word. I mean, you can't emphasize enough the value the recruiters have brought and how important it is to national security, to our Navy, manning the fleet. And many of the recruiters can remember undermanned ships that they were on.
That's right.
You're helping to fix that. The recruiters are. And all of us really together are making that difference. And it's really about running the play every day. It's about continuing to do the things that we know we can do, not looking at goals as ceilings, but as floors, and continuing to do that in an environment that encourages creativity, incentive, and recognizes there has to be a work-life balance. But I agree wholeheartedly with you that the organization as a whole has not found the ceiling.
Sure.
Right, we're continuing to run like an Olympic marathoner, which is faster than the normal human can and longer than the normal human can run, but is completely within capacity.
That's motivating. It actually makes me want to be a recruiter. And I didn't used to like recruiters coming from an RDC perspective. I'm just going to throw that out there. But I love them now, boss. I love them. I promise I do. All right. For anyone who has already met or exceeded their goals, what advice would you give them to maintain momentum and to stay mission focused?
Well, so if you've already met or exceeded your goal, I would say continue and keep honing and getting better at what you do, right? And it's really recruiting beyond the goal. Don't limit yourself to something as, so narrow as like what a goal would be. If you come to work every day and you're able to set activity and continue that through, it's going to help you just not now, in the future. When I first came into recruiting, it was the one contract you wrote per month. That's how I started back in 2006. That was for the Navy. That was your basic requirement. And anything else that you wrote beyond that was for yourself, for your eval, awards, recognition, time off, whatever motivated you inside. So I would say just continue to, sharpen your skills, get better at what you do, train your relief that's behind you, so you can keep sustaining and moving forward. And ultimately, it's going to get us to where we need to be. I'm sure Admiral Waters will tell us to stop recruiting if that ever comes to that point.
Yeah,
He's not going
that's an unlikely occurrence, but yeah, I agree with you. I think the train your relief part is really important, and train your shipmates. They may not be your relief, they may be your peers that are around you, but there are things that you can share with those on your team to make everyone around you better. If you're one of those that's just out running way ahead of the pack, because at our core DNA as a Navy, we're a team-oriented organization. And while individual success is certainly to be honored and celebrated, the most important success in any organization within the Navy is team success.
That's right.
And contributing to that. And the team is winning. We just need to keep winning and recognize goals were set to be audacious and something to inspire the kind of performance we're seeing. But they don't take into account fully what the need of the fleet is, because the need of the fleet, considering how far behind we got in 22, 23, and early 24, it would have exceeded anything that anyone had ever seen before. And so whatever we can do beyond what we've set the goals at is needed for the Navy. We still do not have a fully filled delayed entry program, right? Where you really want to maintain about a 50% delayed entry program to allow us to better send the right sailor at the right time in, to boot camp, so that they graduate on a Thursday and Monday morning they're, sitting in a classroom at A school and then flowing from there out to the fleet. Today there's some, mismatch in that, and it's causing delays in getting to the fleet and things like that downstream from recruiting.
Yes, sir. And I would love to see one day, all the recruiters out there probably are familiar with the all sessions of service data out there. And I'd love to beat the Army one day in just overall percentage. I think that would be great to be the most contracted service out there. I know we have a disadvantage because they have twice as many recruiters as us, but it would still be nice and one day to get to somewhere near that level.
And if your particular area is at that level,
Yes.
I'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely, sir.
You know what's interesting? Observing the conversation from my vantage point. Sounds like we had a championship season this year, but you guys are talking like we're ready to build a dynasty.
Absolutely.
Right? Not just one
Yes.
championship year, it's building legacy. So that sounds awesome. This is some winning conversation here. NCR, what impact does maintaining that strong momentum now have on our success going into fiscal year 26?
Well, I think the boss hit it right on the head. Is that culture of winning is contagious, right? And once you start winning, it's hard to not want to keep winning, right? And so, keeping that momentum is us keeping sharp, training every day, running the play every day, taking care of ourselves, taking care of our shipmates, so that we're ready to go. And, because it's harder to get spun back up. It's like exercise. If you don't exercise for 6 months and like all of a sudden, hey, I got to do a race, it's hard to get to race level.
Well, and you'll injure yourself too.
That's right.
Right? Like you're going to tear something.
That explains it.
Right? Yeah, your workout regimen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we need to add that second PRT a year so you can get that other workout in.
You heard it, folks.
We're having a good time here, everyone.
We are. All right, let's talk about debt referrals. All right. They're a gold mine that often goes untapped. What do you see as the most effective way to activate our future sailors as force multipliers?
Well, I think it's just genuinely caring about somebody, right? And I think a lot of times we might say that, but if you have somebody that joins, do you go on your planner and put their birthday in there? If they're married, the spouse's birthday, their kids' birthdays, do you communicate with them like they're actually a sailor that's in the Navy, right? And sometimes we get so busy doing other things that we forget about that connectiveness, the things that like the sticky stuff that makes people build a strong relationship with one another, right? And so I would say just the more genuine you are with these individuals, it's not all about referrals, but that relationship is going to help you bring referrals, and it's going to most likely going to stay.
They're going to happen naturally.
Yes, sir.
If you have the right relationship. And so I think the way you describe it makes a great argument that the culture needs to not be as focused on your 1 in a month or your 2 in a month. And the work we've done to just establish that annual goal, stay above the line, and run the play every day, where we move away from this just, sort of manic connection to an individual number, and just do recruiting, have the right relationships with those that that have contracted and not yet shipped, build those treat them like shipmates, treat them with respect, include them in the work of the life of the station as much as we can. And then when you do have a DEP meeting, make it worthwhile. Don't, this is not the come in, sign a checklist, get weighed, and see ya. It's what meaningful things are we imparting? And many times we can forget that because we're the only Navy that they know, many of the basic things we know about the Navy are incredibly fascinating to these young people who know nothing, and they don't even know what to ask. So having a DEP meeting that covers really what we would consider very basic facts about the Navy can be super interesting, and they feel like, hey, I've grown, more connected, and the things we can do to continue that means that they're less likely to walk away. So DEP referrals and DEP attrition are, inversely related, meaning the more connected you are, the more referrals and the less attrition.
Sorry.
I think you've said it very, very well in what that focus needs to be.
Yes, sir.
Sir, you started to speak on it, but it's a great segue to the next question. How important is active mentorship with the DEP pool, and what role can recruiters play in preparing future sailors for Recruit Training Command?
Well, I think that overall, the more prepared they are, the less shocked they will be when they get there, because that's their change of life, is when they get to RTC. And just recently having visited there, you can see that, that prepared individual it's going to increase their success exponentially when they get to RTC.
Yeah, I would say, if a recruiter doesn't have a sense of like, well, what do I want to focus this whole DEP process on? Preparing these young people for boot camp is sort of the core thing, right? That's the thing, that's the framework around which we can build the events and the things that we do in DEP. The mentoring, the training, all should support reducing the shock and increasing the preparation for that, life-changing event, which is boot camp.
Absolutely.
All right. And final question, what role will today's recruiters play in shaping the future of the Navy?
Well, recruiting, the recruiters, I say every career starts with the recruiter, right? So everybody out there at some point in their career started with either, the interaction with somebody, whether it be a prior service recruiter, an active duty recruiter, an officer recruiter. So that first impression that you make on somebody, sometimes it can carry throughout. So really, the recruiter plays such a significant role, and it's more than just the individuals they're talking to. It's the impressions they're leaving in the community as well. So a lot of times when you go and you talk to an educator, they don't know that you're a second class petty officer or a master chief petty officer. They just know that you represent the Navy. So leaving that strong impression on everybody that you have as a recruiter is essential for, success ultimately.
Yeah, and representing with pride, with operating honorably, and to your point, I think it's a great point. Many people don't know whether they're talking to a petty officer, a master chief, or an admiral.
That's right, sir.
They just don't know, and so you are the Navy for them as a recruiter, no matter whether you're on day one or right at the end of your third year as a recruiter. Recognize that you carry that. So carry it with confidence, speak with boldness, and be ready to have the conversation about the value proposition of the Navy. And the best way to do that, all that comes out at NORU, but the best way is just to be authentic about what it is that you've experienced in the Navy. That's helpful. And then the other thing I would highlight is really the recruiter is everything to this organization. It's why they're the number one priority. Without the line recruiter out recruiting, prospecting, building trust-based relationships, and closing, it doesn't matter how well we manage, because there's nothing to manage if no one's coming in.
Absolutely.
Right. So I will emphasize again how valuable each and every recruiter is to this organization, and say thank you for what each of you is doing.
Awesome. HR, do you have any closing remarks?
I don't have really any closing remarks unless I'll leave this one thing out there. If you're interested in the career recruiting force, please apply. We'll want you in the future. And I'll just leave it with that.
Yeah.
If you're a recruiter out there doing a great job, then this might be something in your cards. You could be sitting here in the seat one day answering the hard questions.
Yeah, hopefully it's a replaced couch by then, because that thing's been around a while.
It has.
All right. We'll
That's a first world problem, though.
Sir, over to you. You have anything?
Yeah. Hey, NCR, thanks for sitting down with us in this camera-infested forum, but because we talk all the time. I really want recruiters in the field to know you and understand where you're coming from. I think you represent not just the career recruiting force, which of course you do. You represent all recruiters and are a key advisor to me in understanding what's happening in the field, understanding how to think about what's happening in the field. And also another thing for the recruiters out there to really understand, you have a deep understanding of how Salesforce works. And I find that is one of the skills that you've brought to this job that I think others that are out there watching this should aspire to that level of just mastery of that system, which forms the core of how we manage recruiting. And so for the recruiters out there, especially the CRF, if you don't feel like you have or developing mastery of Salesforce, we're working hard at Noru to develop the training courses to give you that mastery. But I invite you to dive into the Salesforce playbook, which Master Chief Kikawa had a very big hand in producing. And just ask questions. Make sure that and challenge assumptions about Salesforce. But that is the system that each and every CRF should see themselves as a future Salesforce ninja, really, I think.
Yes, sir. And for anybody out there, if you haven't already, you can go on to Trailhead through Salesforce, and you can pick a trail that you would like to do. And if you pick, like, say, Salesforce admin, it won't tell you how to do Navy recruiting Salesforce, but it will teach you about the system on how to build reports and dashboards and how custom objects work and stuff like that, which will give you a deeper understanding of how our system is set up and how it actually works. So that's eligible for everybody out there. And if you finish the Trailheads, the Navy pays for you to get your certification, and that applies to the civilian world. Yeah, it's open to any uniform member out there.
Yeah, it's one of the key advantages of continuing the journey in the CRF is you have time to do that in that line of work. But really, to close up, thanks for spending time here. Ken, thanks for hosting with me.
Yes, sir.
For this podcast. I just enjoy the conversation. I hope the recruiters are getting some value out of just seeing, what's happening here in the headquarters and learning a little bit about each of us as we lead this organization. So thanks.
Yes, sir. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and watch this episode at least 10 times. That's what I'm thinking.
Each.
Everyone. All right. You guys have a great day.
Thank you to everybody out there doing the hard work. Appreciate it.